Vaishali madam, please begin here live.
Okay, sir. Hello, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. Today, we have scheduled a webinar on Ace Your Life using OKR Framework, which has been organized by Applied Sciences and Nutrition Department of Parul Polytechnic University. I, Vishal Mani, would like to introduce today's guest speaker, Maria Shah. She is an NLP practitioner and coach. She is also the founder of the Infinite Mindset, helping individuals to achieve their true potential. She is a seasoned learning and development professional with around 10 years of corporate experience across several national and international banks like HDFC, ICICI, Kotak Mahindra, and many more. She has effortlessly pivoted into the virtual space as a certified American board NLP behavioral practitioner after completing her successful stint as a corporate trainer since past 5 years. She has conducted multiple grooming sessions and personality development sessions for managers, freshers, and graduates for clients like Axis Bank, Sri Mata Vaishnavi University. She has conducted one-to-one stress management and peak performance state. She has been also a part of Toastmasters Canada wing, wherein she shared space with international level speakers. Till date, she has touched more than 10,000 lives through her communication enhancement, performance management program, and product training. She has been an ardent believer of personal growth as a continuous ongoing endeavor. She is a firm believer that more than every time she has an interaction with her participants. She believes that the only way to stay motivated as a person is to view the achievement of the people she trains as her achievement. It's a privilege to welcome you here, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Vaishali ma'am, for this warm introduction. I am thankful to Parul University for organizing this webinar. And on this note, let me congratulate Parul University for being a pioneer in the brand of education. Heartiest congratulations to the whole team.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
So I'll get started with the session. So before I get started with the session, so do we have our volunteers here, like
Yes,
the
ma'am.
volunteers with us? I'll just share my screen.
Yeah.
So is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So let me begin by asking you. So our session, the name of the session is Ace Your Life using the OKR Framework. So I would request the participants to make it a very interactive session and respond back to me. Like, what do you expect out of this session? What does it sound to you? What do you think this session is about? What do you think this session is about? Okay. Can we get some responses on the chat box? What do you think this session is about? Ace your life using the OKR framework. What do you think this session is about? Okay. So let me ask a question to the participants. How many of you think that you are living a life of your dreams? So as an individual, everybody has a goal to live their dream life. How many of you are living your dream life? Can I get some responses on the chat box? So I hope they are having access to the chat box, Vishali ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. They have access and they are giving response to you.
Okay, so I am getting some responses. Uh, some people are saying, okay, no, I'm not living, but trying to fulfill. Okay. Any other thoughts? Any other students want to share? Okay, no. Let me share something with you. Would it shock you if I tell you that 50% of Americans, so according to a survey, around 50% of Americans, they are not happy with their job. They are not happy with their job. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to live a life of our dreams. Everyone is striving for that. And you also are at a stage where you are trying to live a life of your dreams. So with today's session, I will try to get some clarity on how to have that ideal state of life, how to have that life that is also aligned to your vision. So yeah. So I'll start with telling you a story. Okay. So the story goes like this. So there is a boy who belongs to a very, very poor family. And this boy, his mother is also there. So this boy receives a letter from his school. The teacher gives him a letter. And that letter, the teacher says, you only have to share it with your mother. Do not share it with somebody else. The mother takes the letter and she starts reading the letter. And when she is done reading the letter, her eyes swell with tears. And then when the son asked the mother, what is written in the letter? She said, it's written that the teacher is saying the school is too small for your son. And we don't have good enough teachers to train him. Please teach him yourself. So what does the mother do? How do you think the mother would be feeling? The mother would be, so the very next day she expelled the student from the school. She took the student out from the school and she started homeschooling him. And as she started homeschooling him, this son turned out to be one of the, greatest personalities. After many years, when his mother passed away, so the son, he went to his home and there was a small closet in his room, a small closet, wherein he found a letter. And this letter was the same letter that the teacher had shared with his mother. And any guesses on what the letter read, what the letter actually said? The letter said that, dear ma'am, your son is mentally challenged. We cannot teach him anymore. You can teach him yourself. He is expelled from the school. And any guesses on who this person was? The personality, the boy, the small little boy whom the mother taught at home. So this person is no other than the very famous Thomas Alva Edison, who was the inventor of the light bulb. And that, my friends, is the power of having a very, very strong mindset. Before you set your goals, have a winner's mindset. There will be people who will be having thoughts. They will be having second thoughts on you. But never ever listen to, the negative voices. Do not get demotivated with the negative voices. Imagine the plight had if the mother listened to what the teacher had said, and same things she would have passed on to her kid. We would not be having such a brilliant scientist who had made such wonderful inventions. We would not be having that person with us. So that is the power of having a winner's mindset. Before you set your goals, having a winner's mindset is very, very, very important. And today there is something we are going to discuss about the winner's mindset. So we are going to discuss about the right mindset to achieve the goals. And what is the right mindset to achieve the goals? It is the winner's mindset. It's all in your mind. So before you start conquering your goals, actually, you have to conquer the goals in your mind. That is a very, very strong takeaway. I would recommend everyone to note it down and believe in it. So as we talk about goals, I'm sure since we were small kids, we would have, been asked this question by everyone. What do you want to be when you grow up? I'm sure everybody would have been asked that question. What do you want to be? What is your goal? And whenever someone asks you, what is your goal in life? By default, you would have said, okay, I want to become a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer. You would never think of goals as anything else. For you, for many people, the definition of goals is what they want to be in their careers or how much money they want to earn. That is the goal. But my friends, let me tell you, goals are having a multifaceted definition. It is more than just your career. It is more than just money. So first of all, let us all have that definition of success for us. What does success mean to us? So this definition could be different for me, different for you, different for my friends. So first of all, you need to define what is your version of success. For some people, it might be money. For some people, it might be a work-life balance. For some people, it might be peace of mind. For some people, it is, more learning. It could be different for different people. So first of all, we clearly need to define what is success for us. Okay. So this is something, there is a very, very important concept that's a very good concept, which has been replicated by all the, modern countries, all the developed countries. This is something called as Wheel of Life. So the Wheel of Life says there are multiple aspects to a person's life. So it could be money and finance. That is one aspect. So we have business goals, we have creative life goals, we have social life goals, we have our personal life, we have our life purpose goals also. So business life goals would include your money and finance and your career and work. Your life purpose is something that is related to your spirituality. It is also related to, the reason why you are here. What is your long-term goal? What is your long-term vision to achieving your goals? What is your learning goal? How do you want to grow as a person? Then we have our, family and friends and, our near and dear ones. So we also have goals in that direction. We also have social goals that is related to our community. As a community member, we also want to contribute to the society. So how am I contributing? How am I giving back to the society? That is also a goal. Our environment, related to our environment, also there are some goals, right? And when it comes to our creative life, and our, there are creative goals also that is related to health and fitness, right? So there are multiple aspects to goals. So if I say, what is your goal in life? The answer should not be only, I want to be this or that. There are multiple aspects to a human personality. And whenever we are designing a life by design, which means living an intentful life, living a life full of intent, we have to also think about the other aspects of us. We are not just our career, we are not just money, we are not just, our family, right? So this will begin with a kind of a self-awareness. So we will be doing a self-awareness exercise wherein I would be soliciting some responses from you all. So if I ask you, how happy are you with your life? Can you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. How happy are you with your life? If you are very, very happy, you can rate it as 10. And 1 being the lower side. I would be, expecting the students to do this on your own. Like if you have a notebook or a copy, you can just do this exercise. And this is going to be really helpful for you. So how happy are you with your life? So the next question that we're going with is, how balanced do you feel across different areas of your life? Do you think your life is having that balance? If it is having that balance, very well. You can rate it on a scale of 10 to 1. If it is going very well, like it could be 9 or 10. But if you think, okay, my life is not as balanced, you can give yourself a rating accordingly. I'll give you 30 seconds for this exercise. How balanced do you feel across different areas of your life? I'll go back to the first question also. How happy are you with your life? I can see some responses on the chat box. Great. So the first question is, how happy are you with your life? So it will begin with the self-introspection. What is your definition of a happy life? What does success mean to you? And once you clearly have a vision of your ideal life, a vision of your ideal success, are you already there or you are yet to reach there? Okay, so the next question, I'm sure everyone has answered it. How balanced do you feel across different areas of your life? Okay, I'm getting a lot of responses on the chat box, which is very good. Okay. Now, if you closely look at the aspects of the wheel of life, so I would just give you around 30 seconds to read this slide and, you know, have the ideal life. What is the ideal life for you? So for example, if I say my career and work is at 10, or I want my career and work to be at 10. So what would that look like? So visualize like if you were to give a 10 on 10 to your career. So what would that life look like to you? If you give a 10 on 10 to health and fitness, so how will that life look like to you? So because of time constraints, I am giving you let's choose any four such most important sections which are very, very important and relevant to you. After the session, I would expect everyone to rate themselves on these different aspects. So for now, what are you expected to do? Choose any four sections from this wheel of life and rate it for yourself. So first of all, imagine what is 10 for you. And are you already there at 10? Or are you at 9 or 8 or 7? So I'm giving you 1 minute to complete this exercise. So yes, Darsh, I'll just uh, reiterate this. So what are we expected to do right now? So out of all these 10 areas of your life, choose the 4 most important areas. So for me, the 4 most important areas, I'll give you an example. It's career and work, spirituality, growth and learning, and family. So these are the 4 most important areas for me. So number 1, what are you going to visualize? What is the ideal situation for you? How does a 10 in career and work look like? How will my life be if my life is 10 on 10 in terms of career and work? So similarly, I'm expected to do this exercise for the 4 sections, my 4 most important sections. And then I have to rate myself. What is my current, rating in terms of career? Am I a 6, a 7, or an 8? Okay, I'm getting a lot of responses on the chat box. That's very good. Thank you so much. I am lucky to have an interactive audience. Thank you. So I believe this activity is done by everyone. So what we have done and what we have learned from this activity, what are the 4 most important things for me at this point of time? And what is the ideal life? What is the ideal life for me in these 4 important parameters? And where am I right now? Where am I standing right now? Am I a 6, 7, 8, or 9? And then as every individual has that, kind of a yearning to be best in everything. We all want to go from the current level to the next level. We want to be successful, right? So if we want to be successful, we always want to go to the next level. So if somebody is 7, they would want to go to 8. If they are 8, they would want to go to 9, right? So what is it that is stopping me from going from 8 to 9? So it will be starting with the SWOT analysis, kind of a strengths, weakness, and opportunities threat analysis. SWOT analysis. I will have to do a SWOT analysis of my life in these 4 aspects. And once I do that SWOT analysis, I will come to know what is it that I need to adopt? What is it that I need to do to get to the next level? I will again give you a minute for this exercise. What is that one thing that I need to do? You have to identify it for yourself. What is that one thing that you need to do that will take you to the next level? What is that one new goal? For example, I'll just give you one example. Somebody wants to be a PhD in mathematics. Right now, they are done with the MSc and they want to be a PhD, and that is their goal. That will take them to 10 on 10. So what is 10 on 10 for them? That is PhD. So that goal needs to be identified. Okay. So I'm giving you 30 more seconds. So by the end of now, what I'm expecting all of you to have done is identifying those 4 goals, 4 most important goals for yourself. So 4 goals which will take you to the next level. I will also be, if any of you can take a screenshot of this wheel of life, I think it's going to be very helpful for you. So I think 1 minute is over. I'll believe everyone is done. So if somebody would were to do an analysis for the all 10 aspects, the wheel of life would look something like this, right? So I would recommend everyone to do this activity once the session is done. So the key points that we discussed till now, I would just summarize it by saying that most of us think that it is not possible to live a fulfilled life. Most of us think that. But yes, how to have a life full of fulfillment is by aligning all the aspects of your life with a bigger vision. What is your long-term vision? So all your goals should be aligned to that vision. We are all busy running the treadmill of life. We are all busy in our jobs, in our work, in our studies, that we are forgetting how to live our life. What is the right way to live our life? And we have a very, very outdated definition of success. Our success is defined by rules which have been set by the society. We are not setting the rules for ourselves. If somebody says, okay, somebody's son or daughter, they are a doctor, so you would also want to be a doctor. Somebody says, okay, my neighbor's son is an engineer, so you would also think, okay, I should be an engineer. So having success, the definition of success on your own terms, that is the takeaway here. So we don't have to live life on the basis of other people's rules. We don't have to live our life based on the rules of the society. We have to have our own definition of success. And then once we are able to have a definition of success for ourselves, we also do an analysis of all the aspects of our lives. Define what is an ideal situation. So define your ideal situation in every area. So these are the 4 most important takeaways. If you want to note it down, you can note it down. So the next thing that we're going to discuss is, like, as we all know now, by the end of the session till now, we are almost midway through the session. So till now we have been in a position to identify what are the 4 most important aspects of our lives, and what is the ideal situation, and what is the current state, and what will take you from the current to the ideal state, right? So what will take me from the current to the ideal state is going to be my next step, right? So whatever is my next step, that will be taking me from step 1 to step 2. So how do I incorporate this into my daily life? How do I make sure I'm living an intentful life? How do I make sure? So how do I make sure? By having micro habits. There's a very, very famous book called Atomic Habits. I'm sure many of you would have read that book. So what does that book say? So if you want to do some, or do you want to achieve a goal? If you look at the bigger picture, you will not be able to accomplish it. Think of a small step. that you can take today. That will not also take a lot of effort. So what is that micro habit? So in all the 10 main aspects of your life, you have to identify what are those 10 micro habits that will help you achieve your goals. What are the 10 micro habits that will help you in getting closer to your goals? What are those habits? And how can you accomplish those habits? How can you get those habits into your daily life? So micro habits are, we have a bigger picture in front of us. We break that bigger picture into doable tasks. The bigger picture, for example, for someone would be being a social media person, or maybe a digital marketer. Somebody wants to learn digital marketing and you want to be a digital marketing influencer. So what do you have to do for that? So what is the objective? The objective is, so the mission is to be a digital media influencer. So for that, you'll have to learn digital media marketing. For that, you'll have to learn SEO. So what are the objectives? So we will be discussing this more in the next slide also. How to have, micro habits, which are also, which you can keep a track of. So once we also have micro habits in our day-to-day lives, so we also need to have an accountability towards it. So we have to be responsible for what we are doing. So for example, somebody wants to be physically fit. So that is the bigger picture. So how do you become physically fit? You will have to go to a gym, right? So that is the smaller picture. And a further smaller picture would be, going to gym 3 days a week. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. These are the 3 days. And having an accountability partner. So how do you make sure you are, having these habits in your daily life or not? How do you make sure? You have to be accountable for it. So accountability partner could be any of your friends, your family, could be anyone whom you trust. You can also be accountable for your goals by writing a journal every day. So whatever you do on a daily basis, end of the day, write the journal. How did you come closer to your goals today? What is it, that one thing you did that got you closer to your goals? So you can have an accountability partner, or you can be your own accountability, person. But yes, there has to be a way of tracking your goals. There has to be a way to make sure that you are achieving your goals. And there you have to make sure you are reviewing your goals also. So just having your goals and not keeping a track of it, you will not be able to achieve any of the goals. So having an accountability mechanism, being responsible for your goals, taking responsibility for your goals, that is one thing. So till now, I'll just summarize what we discussed. So till now, we discussed that we all need to have a clear vision, a crystal clear vision in all areas of life. That is number one. Your goals should be in sync with your long-term vision. Whatever goals you have, it should be in sync with the bigger picture. And whatever goals you have to find ways of achieving your goals. And ways of achieving your goals would be, having small habits that you can implement on a daily basis. So small habits that can help you in achieving your goals. Having micro habits. That is something that is very, very important so that you can, be able to achieve your goals. And having a constant review of your goals, maybe a weekly review. So every week I can, have a review of my goals. How much have I achieved, and, how much is to be achieved? What have I done? What are the steps that I have taken to achieve the goals? Okay. So the agenda, as we have discussed, we have discussed having vision and then having a goal and how to achieve the goal. So there is, the topic of the session is OKR, which we have, seen in the start. So OKR is a very, recent framework that many of the companies have, successfully applied. So companies like Google, BMW, LinkedIn, they have all applied this OKR framework. And this OKR framework, that is objectives and key results. It helps organizations in achieving results, and the same thing can also be applied to you in your daily life. And how can it be applied in your daily life? This is how we apply it. So the bigger picture is the goal that we have, right? For example, somebody wants to do a PhD in some subject, or somebody wants to have a job in some in a top-notch company like Google. Okay, so what is the objective? So you'll have to break that bigger picture into smaller objectives, and that smaller objectives have to be broken down into key result areas. So I'll give you a very, relatable example. Somebody wants to, I have somebody here who wants to be a digital marketing influencer. That is the bigger picture. So smaller picture would be like, if I break down that bigger goal into smaller objectives, and smaller objectives can be broken down into key result areas. So basically, key result areas are ways to check that, okay, yes, I have achieved my goal. Key result areas are quantifiable, measurable, realistic, and time-bound goals, time-bound parameters. So key result area would be, so for example, if somebody wants to do be a digital marketing digital marketing influencer. So what will be the key result area for that? Doing a particular XYZ course, you should be knowing SEO. You should be knowing, these 2-3 things that are important in the, industry, right? And then reading about it, what you want to be reading about it, and sharing more content about it. That could be another key result area. For example, it could be sharing 2 posts on LinkedIn every day about digital marketing. That could be that. Another key result could be having 100 followers, right? So these 3 could be the result areas. So a bigger picture, that is the mission of the person, that can be divided into objectives, right? So objective is a further little smaller picture, but key result area would be like, something that is quantifiable, something that is measurable, something that is realistic, and something that is time bound. Some outcomes which are time bound, some outcomes that can be measured. So key result areas tell us whether you are going in the right direction or not. So for example, somebody wants to pursue some course, but the key result areas are not in line with the long-term vision. The person is not able to meet the key result areas, means they are not going in the right direction. So having goals, identifying your priorities, having goals in your identifying priorities, identifying your goals, and breaking those goals into a long-term, visualizing the goals into in the form of a mission, and breaking that mission into objectives and key result areas. That is basically the OKR framework. So whatever you do has to be clearly defined to you. It should be clearly measurable to you. So you should be, after 6 months, you should be able to review your goals by measuring the key result areas. I hope, you all, would be able to, have this OKR framework in your day-to-day life, and you will be able to design, OKR for your personal goals. So for each of the 10 aspects that we discussed, we should have OKR frameworks for all the 10 aspects. So what are the takeaways that we have here? Having a winner's mindset is very, very important. Having a winner's mindset is very, very important. See, everybody faces the same type of problems. The world is not fair to anyone. Everyone, faces the same set of problems that you are facing. But yes, what you can do, develop the right mindset. When I say develop the, right mindset, I mean, by saying that, I mean, have an open mindset towards everything. Have an open mindset. So if you have a closed mindset, then you will not be able to learn anything. But having an open mindset, having a learner's mindset is very, very important. So once you have that winner's mindset, what happens? You keep seeing, problems as not something that is very big. So you keep thinking, okay, the problem will come, I will solve it and go further. That is having the winner's mindset. Otherwise, everyone is facing same kind of issues. But what you learn from the problem and how you handle to cruise through the problem, that is something that is very, very important. So having a winner's mindset is very, very, very important. At the same time, what is very, very important, having a definition of success on your own terms, not on anybody else's terms. What is success to you? You should be knowing that. And that should not be defined by the society. That should not be defined by anybody else other than you. Having a clear vision in all the areas of life, all the important aspects of life that we discussed. You should be knowing, okay, this is the ideal state for me. This is how my ideal life looks like. And when you can visualize your ideal life, believe me, it will work wonders for you. I have personally, experienced this. If you believe something is going to be good for you, it will be good for you. Imagine that ideal situation. Imagine that ideal way of living your life. And then once you are able to visualize it, reinforce that on a daily basis. You have to reset your mindset, on a daily basis. Do some exercises to reinforce that mindset on a daily basis. So once we do that, we will be able to, be very close to our goals. Once we visualize our goals, we are very, very close to our goals. So having a clear vision is very, very important. At the same time, your goals should be aligned to the bigger picture. What do you ultimately want in your life? So your goals should be in sync with that long-term vision. Developing micro habits. So all your goals should be divided into micro habits. How are you going to achieve the goals? A goal without a plan is just a wish. So it's very, very important that you have micro habits which you can do on a daily basis. I'll give you one small example. I have a friend who wants to be very fit, but that my friend, she doesn't want to go to the gym every day. So the power of atomic habits, micro habits, it says, if you can't take the bigger step, take the smallest step. So if you can't go to the gym, at least you can do a workout at home. If you can't do a workout at home, take a further smaller step, go for a walk. If you can't go for a walk, maybe just, play a sport, or maybe do something that is, that is getting you closer to the goals. That is the power of micro habits. At the same time, so as you have micro habits in your daily schedule, be religiously following that, and then also have someone accountable for it. Be accountable to somebody for your habits. And at the same time, you also have to review your goals on a periodic basis. Start writing a journal every day. If not every day, every week. Start with every week. Write a journal on how you're achieving your goals. Are your daily habits in line with your goals or not? Last but not the least, the OKR framework, objectives and key results. What is my objective in a certain area? What is the bigger picture? And how do I know I'm achieving the bigger picture or not? I need to have key result areas for that goal, for that objective. What are the key result areas? 1, 2, and 3. And are my habits in line with the key result areas or not? Having an accountability partner who will support you. That is also very, very important. So these are the takeaways from the session. I will now have the forum open for question and answers. If you have any questions or you want any clarifications, the forum is open for discussions.
Thank you so much, ma'am,
Thank you.
for this beautiful presentation. It will surely help our students to look forward in life.
So this OKR framework, I have personally used it myself, and if it does not mean that it's only applicable to students, or it's only applicable to a certain set of people. It can be applied by anyone.
Yes.
And it gives you a framework to think. It gives you a framework to plan your future. And it will also help you in living a much more intentful life. That's.
I think it is helpful to each and every person on the earth.
Yes, yes.
Sometimes it happens that we get failure, madam, and person doesn't want to move ahead on that point. So for them, what is your advice according to this OKR framework?
Ma'am, can you I was not able to hear you.
Yes, sometimes it happens that students get failure, or a person gets failure, right, in
Yes.
some point of life. Then they do not want to follow the path that they are already following.
Yes.
So what is your advice for them?
So the students, sometimes what happens, they make a lot of efforts towards something, towards achieving goals. They prepare a lot. They do a lot of things in the direction of their goals, but somehow they're not able to achieve the goal. So what should be done in that case? So first of all, having a winner's mindset means never ever think, okay, that you are a failure. So there can be two things: either you learn, or you are successful. So failure is just an illusion. There is no such thing as failure. Failure is just a word in the dictionary. So you either learn, or you get successful.
So move on. Learn from
Yes.
that thing and just move on. I think
Learn from your mistakes. So even if it is a mistake, just learn and move on, and take it as an opportunity. Take every mistake as an opportunity of learning.
yes.
That is how I take it. And that is what the power of neuro-linguistic programming also says. So there is no such thing as failure. Failure is just a illusion. At the same time, there are many students who are think, yeah, we should be perfect, and then only we will do this or that. We will only, go for an interview in a organization when we are perfect. That is also a myth many students have. Right. So for such so for such people, for such students, even if you think that, okay, you have to be perfect to do something, that is again a myth. Because perfection is also myth.
Yes. Nothing
So
is
you just have to take the first step.
Yes, that's true.
You just have to take the first step, and the path will unfold. And have that belief that the path will unfold. So once you believe in something, it also happens. How to release, okay, I have some questions in the chat box. How to release pressure from our mind? So if you could be even more specific about it, Darsh, if you could be more specific, I will able to be in a better position to answer. So
Yes, according to him, if there is some pressure going in the life, then how
okay.
can he maintain that or be remain stable at that point of time?
Yes, yes. So yeah, that's what I understood from this. So how to manage stress? That's what Darsh wants to know.
That's a
So how
perfect.
to manage stress, study pressure along with life problems? Yes. See, I would say this to you that like you are not the only person. Like we are all in the sailing in the same boat. We are all having stress. But yes, some people can show it and some people don't show it. So some people who don't show it, they are managing stress. So there are ways to manage stress. So first of all, whenever you are faced with a stressful situation, that's how I handle it. So first of all, just take a piece of paper and write down what is bothering you, what is causing that stress to you, right? So write down 3 or 4 points. Don't write a whole page. If you want to write a whole page, you can write. But yes, write 2, 3 things that are causing stress to you. And then you also think that, okay, for example, number one, I have number one thing that is causing stress to me. Is it in my control or not? If it is in your control, then what can you do about it? Just write that down also. If it is not in your control, then even if you take stress, it will not solve anything. So yeah, study, everyone has, we are sailing in the same boat. Even in my life, there are so many pressures. But yes, then how we handle that? How do we maintain a calm and composed mind? Maybe, I think according to me, what I do, I'll just do what I do. Sometimes I try to meditate. I try to share my problems with my friends. And that will, that makes, me feel better. So when it comes to studies, yeah, it's like, everyone is facing a lot of pressure with a lot of competition. The expectations of organizations are huge. So the moment you are passing out from a university, they would expect you to be performing from day one in their, in the corporates. But then how you tackle that pressure, how you manage people, how you train your mind, I think that is something that has helped me. So I would just add one thing here, like there is something called as linguistic programming. So something that I have also learned, and I am practicing that since last couple of years. It has helped me manage myself a lot. And in case anybody wants to reach out to me, I am also available on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me personally also on my contact number. I will, I can take a one-on-one, consultation also with you, or I can just help you with, dealing with such situations in a better way. Any other questions, ma'am? Anyone has any more questions, please?
No, madam, I think it's just clear now.
Uh,
And if they might having, I'll share with you afterwards.
Yes, what I would recommend, if you could collate all the questions and send it to me, I will be
Sure,
able to, give a customized answer to that.
sure, ma'am. I think there should be one mentor in each and every life.
Yes, that is what I also feel, Ms. Vishali. So we also always see other people's life and we think, okay, how perfect their life is. But the the answer is like everyone needs a mentor. Everyone needs someone to guide them. So
Every
it's
face,
not that.
every coin has two faces. So we see only one face.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
we see only one face of others. We see only the good face. But yes, there are multiple facets to somebody's personality. We don't see the negative aspects. So everyone is in the same boat. Everyone is facing problems. Everyone is facing stress. But yes, how we handle and how we cruise through the stress is what, decides your future.
I think we will end this session, ma'am, here. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us today and giving us your valuable time.
Yeah, ma'am, on, the last note, I would just want to share my screen. So I am also starting, a new batch of neurolinguistic programming for, youngpreneurs, for students and youngpreneurs. So if anybody wants to reach out to me for any kind of, sessions, I will be more than welcome to, take it up. So my number is also given. Feel free to reach out. So this new program, it is called as a winner's mindset.
Okay.
And, this batch is also starting in, September. So students are free to reach out to me for any help.
Sure, ma'am. We'll pass it on this message to our students.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms.
Thank you
Vishali.
so much. Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.